Hey up everyone, I'm back again. So I wanted to do a quick comparison review between the older Nokia Lumia 925, which I still have knocking around the house because it is a fantastic phone, which is I think very highly underrated, and the recently released Lumia 630. Which in its own respect is an excellent phone, but aimed more at the budget end of the market. I know that there's quite an age difference between both devices, but I think there's a lot of people out there who will be looking to see, is it worthwhile buying an older device with higher specs or a newer device a bit cheaper in terms of the price. But I think whichever one you'd want to go for would depend on your needs, really. I think that they both offer an excellent Windows Phone experience. They're both. I've got the developer preview running on the Lumia 925, so they haven't yet pushed out the official update, which it's quite surprising, really. I'd have thought they'd have done it by now, but for some reason it's not come on, so I have had to kind of void my warranty and just put the developer preview on. And I'm very happy with Windows Phone 8.1 on the Lumia. I think that it really makes use of the extra set of tiles with the bigger screen. I got the 630 with the 8.1 update already on it, which was nice, so I didn't have to put any developer preview on it, and in its own right it's been an excellent little device. I've criticised the screen a little bit. I think that in daylight it is a bit dim and a bit low in terms of the PPI. I think that you notice it in particular when you're web browsing, which means that you're going to have to zoom in a little bit more than you would on other devices. The screen on the 630 is a LCD screen. It's an IPS panel, so in general the viewing angles are decent, especially at night time. It's just the lack of brightness, really, which make it a bit dull in terms of looking at it from the sides. On the other hand, the 925, in my opinion, still has an absolutely fantastic screen. It's an AMOLED display, so colours appear very punchy. Some people don't like the punchy look of AMOLED, but personally I'm a big fan of it. I think that also the screen tends to get quite a bit brighter than the 630. As you can see, I've got it on the maximum brightness now, and it really this is on the maximum brightness as well, but you can definitely see that the brightness of the 925 wins out. I think that the pixel density is also much higher as well on the 925. I think it's in the 300s somewhere, so in general text appears a lot more crisper when doing internet browsing. I'm a big fan of the screen on the 925. I think it's a very fantastic display. Even in direct sunlight, it just seems to be very legible, coupled with the clear black technology that Nokia does use. I think that it's a marvellous display, which I hope is emulated on the 930, which is coming out. In regards to the specifications, the 925 is running an older Snapdragon S4 at 1.5 GHz, and the Lumia 630 is a quad-core Snapdragon 400 at 1.2 GHz. So even though it is a quad-core processor, I think that in terms of raw performance, the A9 architecture is going to be that bit more powerful in doing day-to-day tasks. But I think in general, I think the performance on both devices is about comparable. I've not really noticed much in the way of differences, if I'm to be absolutely honest, with both of them, because at the end of the day, you know, you are running the Windows Phone, the latest Windows Phone operating system, which is in itself going to be very efficient. So you know, it's like comparing apples to oranges, really. I think that the only issue to be aware of is the lack of RAM on the 630. It does come only with 512 megabytes of RAM, so some apps may not be compatible. But in day-to-day use, unless you're heavily multitasking and going back into previous apps, I think it's not going to be too much of a problem. So yeah, I think that Nokia have done a good job optimizing the performance on both devices. In regards to the actual battery life on each device, that's where things are a little bit different. I think I'd have to give it to the 630 in regards to the battery life. In my opinion, I think one of the major failings of the 925 has been battery life, which hasn't really improved much on Windows 8.1 as much as I was expecting. It's 2000 mAh battery, which basically I'd say lasts a day of moderate use, but sometimes it's pushing it. To be honest, it's probably going to be looking to be charged late in the afternoon from most people's usage nowadays, leaving everything on. You may need to also turn off location services as well to get it through the day, which, you know, I don't like turning off things in 2014. I want everything on and syncing. So it's a bit of a fail there by Nokia for not putting in a larger capacity battery. But you know, it does the job at the end of the day. I think light users won't see much problems with the battery life, but just be aware of that. But on the 630, I think the story's a lot better. I think that the combination of the quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor, slightly smaller screen, really lends to helping the battery. I think that even though it is a lower battery at 1800 mAh, you should easily be able to get through a day of moderate to heavy usage on this device. But you know, at the end of the day, your mileage will vary. I have left everything on in terms of location and auto sync on the 630 and not had many issues in regards to the battery life there. So I think they are steadily improving, but I think they still could have put a bigger battery in the Lumia 930, which is coming out. I've heard some stories already saying that the battery is quite average, but we'll have to wait and see. But other than that, I think the storage on the Lumia 925 is fixed either at 16 or 32 gigabytes if you have a Vodafone version, whereas the storage on the Nokia 630 has either 8 gigs internal storage. I think it's only 8 gigs in fact that you can get. There's no other variant with micro SD of up to 128 gigs micro SD cards, so certainly better options there for expandability. You can also swap out the battery, I forgot to mention, on the 630, which is a big advantage over the 925, which has a fixed internal battery. There's also no wireless charging, unfortunately, on the 925, which was taken away from the 920, which was quite questionable, but it is a much lighter device and much more premium feeling, I guess. In terms of speakers, there's a speaker on the back on the 630, which I'd say is good at output, but unfortunately, because it's on the back and it's very small, it tends to be muffled quite a bit, which they could have rectified, I guess, by putting it on the front or on the bottom of the device. But the speaker on the 925 is a bit bigger. Again, it's on the back, but I think it's in a better position, and sound does seem to sound less muffled and about as loud through it. So both decent in terms of speaker quality, but I think positioning is where Nokia should work towards on the next devices that they bring out. In regards to the call quality, I've not really noticed a difference on both devices. I have obviously noticed that you do get more talk time with the 630. I did notice the battery draining quite quickly when I was using the 925, but that's again to do with the battery discrepancies. I think a big advantage, however, where the 925 does shine is in the quality of the camera app and the camera performance. In general, the camera performance on the 925 is superb. I think that it's still one of the best cameras on a smartphone today, coupled with Nokia's very intelligent application. I've already been through this. I've recently installed Windows 8.1, so I think that's why it's coming up again. But am I in the Nokia one? I don't think I was in the Nokia one then anyway. Let's go back to Nokia camera. Oh, that's not Nokia camera. Nokia camera. So I think the area which the 925 really shines is in terms of the nighttime quality of how much light it lets in. Focusing is also very nice and quick, as well as taking the shot. Obviously it's not quite as good at the flash compared to the 1020, which has a xenon flash, but you don't get that humongous bulge on the back like the 1020. Video recording is great as well. It's full HD 1080p. You do get quite a few options as well that you can change under the settings, such as lenses, timer, bracketing, etc. So I think the camera experience is still fantastic on the 925, and coupled with the physical shutter button, which feels nice and clicky, camera feels will definitely want to go for the 925. The camera on the 630 isn't bad. It does support autofocus and 720p recording, but it's still blown out of the water compared to the 925, and there's no physical shutter button either, which is a bit of a shame. In terms of the software, as I said, they're both running Windows 8.1, whereas that is a developer preview version. I think there's not really much differences to talk about there really, but you do get a few extra things on the 925 that I can't see on the 630, such as music, Nokia Music. Is that it? that's not it, that's the Xbox version. Oh, I'm sure that we used to get the music app on there. Or maybe they've taken it off. That's peculiar. But yeah, we used to get the Nokia music app on the 925, so probably it's got something to do with the software update. I'm not sure where it's gone. But I think in general you'll find that the software is pretty much the same on both fronts. They both have the notification center now, which is quite basic, but desperately needed. They both have the ability to wake the device when it's off, or do they? In fact, it's actually only the 925 that can do that. You can't do that on the 630, unfortunately. But yeah, software-wise, you're going to have to get used to Windows 8.1. At the end of the day, it is quite different from Android and iOS. But you'll find most of the apps that you do need on both phones. I've not suffered by using these phones or felt like I'm being given a second-class experience. Yeah, I think in terms of the actual feel in the hand, the 925, is hard to beat. I think that while the Nokia 630 is comfortable, it still can't compare to the very aluminium feeling of the 925, which just feels very premium in quality, particularly the silver and white version, which I don't have, unfortunately. But you're not going to get that feeling, I guess, when you're paying only about 120 for a device. So they're both excellent phones, and I guess it depends on whether you need the camera or not. If you do need an excellent camera, then I still recommend getting the 925 over the 630, because it's still an excellent all-rounder. Just the battery life, which may let it down a little bit. But the 630, that's an excellent budget handset right there. And apart from the camera and the lack of 4G and NFC, which again the Lumia 925 does have, apart from that, it does have its own distinct advantages, such as a better battery life, which is removable. It is also got an ability to expand the storage to a higher capacity, which is nice. Also, the on-screen buttons change as well, which if you don't like physical buttons, you can get used to that, because that's the way Microsoft and Nokia are going, I think. But yeah, two excellent devices, I guess, for two different types of consumer. So I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. Please subscribe or like the video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!